Hello friends, and welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're back. If you are new, hi, my name's Rabbit and my pronouns are they, them, and either way, thank you so much for clicking on my video today. So I'm really excited about today's video. It is my favorite season and we're gonna do a DIY. I've always wanted a pair of like orange Halloween plaid pants, and that is what we're gonna make in today's video. So if you're ready to see how we turn some plain old thrift store plaid pants into some very cool Halloween alternative ones, then please keep on watching. For a couple of years now, I've really wanted a pair of like Halloween sort of trip pants, or in general just a pair of orange plaid pants, but those tend to be really hard to find at the thrift store. What tends to be not so hard to find at the thrift store, at least in my experience, is just white or grayish plaid pants. So I found these and took them home, and I was in the process of dyeing a couple of other pieces in this project, but I'm going ahead with my Rit synthetic dye and filling up my boiling pots of water, adding the dish soap, and then pouring in this dye. Then taking the sopping wet pants and putting them in, giving them a really good stir for the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then letting them just boil and simmer in the hot water for like 30 minutes to an hour. Then you rinse them, starting with warm water and slowly making it go colder. Then just running them through the washing machine and drying them out. Then I tried them on and they were a little bit loose in the waist, so I'm taking in the waist just a tiny bit, adding a couple of stitches to the back so as to not mess with the pockets or anything. This is not professional at all, but it works and I see no problem with it. So this is what they look like all laid out, and I have a bunch of these patches to go through. A lot of these were from a previous project I showed on this channel, which was my Halloween skirt, but I'm trying out a bunch of different layouts. First I wanted to try something with like some overlapping things and with a lot of like Halloween fabrics, but I ended up going with a lot more of just like my own screen printed patches. I thought it looked a little bit more, I was gonna say hardcore, but that's not correct because Halloween pants are pretty dorky, but you know, it looked a little bit more like punk with more of kind of logos and band names and movies and stuff than like a bunch of the fabric patches, but obviously do what you want. I'm also taking some old towels and using this one with the orange cat as a knee patch, and as usual it takes me a while to figure out the exact layout that I want, but once I have it I can pin everything down one by one, and this takes a minute, but it's very important in my opinion to try things on as you go. Obviously, if you want to just like have a pair of pants and like slowly add one patch at a time and it's not like this one big project like I tend to do, that's also completely valid. I know some people that think that this way of doing it is like incorrect or wrong, and I don't think there's a wrong way to make your clothes. Like if you're gonna wear them, it's fine. But yeah, obviously do what you want, and if I add a bunch more patches later, that's cool too. But to me, it doesn't have to be like a one at a time over years and years and years thing. This I think I did in like under a week, and it was a good time. I'm adding a couple of like zippers and grommets and just interesting different pieces of metal and hardware, and I also got these iron-on studs at the thrift store recently, which I was really excited to try out, so I'm excited to have them make their debut for me in this project. I'd always been very averse to iron-on studs, thinking that they wouldn't stick on, but I figured, what do I have to lose? I'll give it a go, and if they suck, they suck. Once everything is pinned on, I can go ahead and start sewing things on, and I'm starting with the things at the top that I was able to reach pretty easily with my sewing machine from the waistband, but obviously since pants have long skinny legs that tend to not want to be fed through your entire sewing machine apparatus, at least not without a big fight and a lot of difficulty maneuvering it, this wasn't going to work for everything. Oh yeah, this is what the back looks like. Now for the kind of scary thing for me is because of the long skinny leg nature of pants that I didn't want to spend a bunch of time maneuvering around, I decided that my best bet would be to seam rip them open all up the legs, at least a good portion of it, so that I would be able to more easily maneuver my sewing machine around them. And honestly, this worked out really well, and I had a way better time doing this. Like, yes, seam ripping took a while, but it would have taken way longer to hand stitch everything on or to be like super cumbersome with my machine the whole time. So once it's all opened up, I can go ahead and just slip everything in real easy and sew it all down. And it takes a while, but everything is sewn on really nice and neatly. I loved this technique. It worked out really, really well for me, and I'll see how the pants hold up and hopefully report back on that next Halloween, I guess. But yeah, it worked out really, really well. Anyway, once everything is on, I can go ahead and turn them inside out and go ahead and stitch up the open holes that I've created. So first I am lining up the seams and pinning them back in place so that I can make sure that they're nice and straight when I try to put them back on. And I left the crotch intact, and I left a tiny bit of the ankle intact so that it wouldn't be completely sewing them back together from scratch, just because I was scared to completely detach everything. Anyway, I am going ahead and using a nice big zigzag stitch to sew them back together inside out, and the seams do not look as nice. I probably should have like rolled the seam or something, or you know, one of these days maybe I'll get a serger and figure out how to use it. Stitching the pants all back together and then turning them back inside out, and they look great. Now it's time to attach these studs. So I'm taking a piece of parchment paper to protect the pants and the glue from seeping in, and then placing the stud where I would like them, and then taking another piece of parchment paper so that, again, glue doesn't go everywhere, and then just ironing them on. The instructions on these studs had all this talk of an applicator that you had to use and heat up, and I was like, I don't know what the hell that's about, so I'm just gonna use an iron, and that worked out great. So yeah, I'm just going ahead and piece by piece, since they just have glue on the bottom of them, putting the iron over it so the glue melts down, and they seem really sturdily on. As I said, I'm excited to see how they hold up over the wash and next Halloween's and this and that, but yeah, for now, we'll see. And I'm just going ahead and basically, to make sure that everything's even, I start by putting everything in the corners, and then in the middle, and then in the middle of that. That way we have all the studs nice and evenly spaced out. It would have been cool to use spikes on these pants, but I figured spikes might be way more uncomfortable than just some simple studs would, so that's why we're trying out this. Even though it looks a little bit cowboy, I think it adds a nice element of like metallic texture and color and all that, so I enjoy it. And there was a little bit of a gap left, so I am attaching a piece of grommet tape down the front of the pants. Just gonna pin it in place and then sew it on down. Now, I wanted to do something in terms of like one of those belt chains, but with like Halloween colors, and I'd seen some people do them with beads, so I figured that would be a perfect idea to do in like Halloween colors, since I have a lot of plastic Halloween beads. I'm going ahead and just stringing a bunch of black and white and orange Halloween themed beads onto a thick piece of cord, and then I'm attaching these two little hardware kind of clippy things on the end. I tend to save any broken keychains and zippers and buttons and random stuff like that in a bag, so I don't know exactly what these are from, but they were in that bag of reused metal bits. And I'm just adding a little bit of glue after I've tied on the cord a bunch to keep it neat and tidy, since I had a little extra piece of string that I couldn't like tuck into anywhere. But yeah, just basically haphazardly making a long string of beads with some clips on the end. Doesn't require really a ton of explanation, but that's what it looks like. I wanted more than one strand on my Halloween belt chain, so for the next one I'm doing this kind of striped orange and black design. I love these star beads. I've used them a lot in projects and I need to get more soon, honestly. But yeah, just going ahead and alternating the colors so it's like a nice stripy pattern for this one. And I wanted another strand of candy corn chain. So if you've seen my Halloween skirt video, you've seen how I've made this before, but basically I was just using the leftover candy corn charms for this project. I have orange, yellow, and white clay that I am squishing out and cutting into the shape of candy corn, and then using my fingers to shape it, then baking it as instructed and using a gloss to make it all nice and shiny. And I also have added a little eye pin so that I can put it on a chain eventually. So I'm taking this silver chain that used to be a necklace that I found at the thrift store that was broken, and I am attaching a bunch of little jump rings to it so I can put on my candy corn charms. As usual, to find the center of the chain, I am first folding it in half and then just trying to count the chain links so I can evenly space out all the clay pieces. And this one is a little bit more spaced out than the last one I made, and I think it looks quite nice. Next, I am attaching that beaded chain that I made to the candy corn one, and then I'm attaching this beaded strand. Now these three chains kind of live together on one one strand, so it's like one of those cool layer things, but like in a Halloween theme, and it's totally removable, so I can keep it on or off the pants, but I think it looks really cool on there. And now it's time for the final result. Okay, these are the pants. I think they turned out pretty freaking fun. Like, this is the full outfit from a distance, and then I will give you like a proper close-up. It can also absolutely be worn without this thing for like a slightly simpler look and a little bit more grungy and less like pastel candy time, but I like the pastel candy time as well, so it's cool either way. You could totally replace this with just like a silver chain for like a more classically alternative look. Alright, so let's go into the actual pants themselves. So this is what the pants are looking like. They're ridiculously comfortable, and I am extremely happy with my choice of like really leaving off super heavy elements of like D-rings and chains, at least for the time being, because when I think about the reasons that I don't wear my other kind of trip style pants that I made, the reason is because they're like quite heavy, and I'm worried of like them getting caught on things. But dude, if I take off just this thing, there's like nothing really to get caught, I don't think, which is pretty freaking nice. And they look really good. Yeah, quite soft, quite comfy. The fact that they're like straight leg makes a lot of the patches be like quite readable, like they're not getting like warped as much as they would be if maybe they were like skinny jeans perhaps. So that's pretty good. They're not the warmest plaid in the world, but they're not scratchy at all, so win for me. I like that the pumpkin is a pocket, though it's like quite shallow, so I don't know if I like trust putting my actual phone in there or anything anytime soon. But yeah, a lot of fun. Excited to wear them on my autumn strolls and autumn walks. And obviously this could go anywhere. It could go on this side as well, but it like kind of covers up the ladies more. My one tiny issue with making a lot of like patch bottoms though is that so many of my jackets are patched as well that I worry that when I wear it, it looks like super matchy-matchy, but that's okay. Also, I worry that this looks like way too clean because like all of the patches are like perfectly like in straight line, not perfect, but you know what I mean. They're like in straight lines, they're not overlapping and like none of that. So we'll see if like over time I get more of like a classic crust look to them, or if they'll stay like kind of neat and tidy for Halloween-y time. But regardless, I think they look pretty cute, and I'm excited to see what the world thinks. Yeah. Alright, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope the spooky season is treating you wonderfully, and I hope you have a great rest of your day or night or whenever it happens to be that you're watching. I hope to catch you in the next one. I'll catch you in the next one, and that's all I got for now. So have a good one, and until then, bye for now.